Hi, this is Josh, the owner of Shamma Sandals, and we're about to dig around in the old mailbag. So here we go. This first question comes from JP. How's it going, JP? He says, hello, I'm interested in your Shamma Charger sandal. How is the grip on wet surfaces? I mean the outside grip on the bottom of the sandal, not foot grip. Thanks. Great question. It has the least grip of all of our sandals. It's going to depend on the surface you're on. So some surfaces when they're wet are going to be better than others. Concrete, for instance, when it's wet, probably not a big deal. If you are, like, say, creek walking and you're on like a smooth rock that's kind of wet, yeah, it'll be really slippery. So it kind of is a case-by-case deal with the surfaces. So I would just say it's gonna depend. If you're planning on running on dirt, and the dirt gets wet, then I would lean more towards the Warriors or Mountain Goats. Even my brother Willie, we just went on this tubing trip, and he wore them in the water during the whole tubing trip. And so we were in and out of the water and on rocks and stuff like that, and he seemed to manage. He didn't even have the grip tops, he was just wearing the leather ones, and he seemed to be fine. So I don't know, it just kind of depends on the surface, but I would say it's fine for most surfaces, but usually, I haven't struggled with them too much with the water. So hope that was helpful, JP. Probably wasn't the best, but I think the Chargers really are. They're going to be a good option for you with the grip top footbed. Okay, next one comes from Justin. Justin says, hey y'all, and Justin's from the South, and he's using the second person plural properly, so cool, man. It should be used more often. He says, so recently a 10-year-old pair of Chacos died. Sad day, but this puts me in the market for a new pair of Bad A sandals. I saw y'all's brand pop up on a Reddit forum. Been scoping the website. I love the small local mom and pop shop thing too. I only have one question, and I couldn't find an answer. For on the website. I do the bike packing thing, and I'm curious about the thickness and stiffness of the sole. Do y'all think it's thick enough to not get stabbed by pedal spike things and to properly transfer power? A bunch of folks seem to be bike packing in the Cairn sandals, which are similar in design style. I live nowhere near a store to try any of these sandals on. Thanks for any input on the sandal dilemma. Gonna give y'all a follow on Instagram now. I love discovering new brands and get even more stoked when it's a small family-owned affair. Have a great rest of the weekend. All right, Justin, well, thank you very much. You figured it out. We are super small. As for your question, I think that the Mountain Goats are the sandal you want. It's kind of obvious right off the bat. Our Mountain Goats are a little bit thicker, and they are about 12 millimeters thick. So as long as your spike isn't basically over a half an inch, it wouldn't pass through. But most of the spikes on the bike are gonna be 1/4 of an inch, and they're not gonna be super sharp or anything like that. So the Mountain Goat's gonna be a really good choice. And the cool thing is they're a lot lighter than the Cairns. We've had customers come in. I had this one customer last year, and he had a pair of Cairns. He was gonna hike the JMT, but they were just too heavy. And he's like, man, I can't bring them. They just weigh so much. So we got some Mountain Goats, and just comparing the two, like a Cairn in size 8 or 9 is gonna be about, it's 8.5 ounces, and a Mountain Goat's gonna be 5.5 ounces per sandal. So that's a lot lighter. It's a very noticeable difference. And they're definitely gonna be thick enough, and they're gonna be great for backpacking. They have flex to them, but not so much that it's gonna be a problem on your bike. I think they'll be perfect. And I'd also recommend power straps, because it sounds like you wanna be really active in them. Okay, well, Justin, hope that's helpful. And on to the next one. This one comes from Brian. All right, Brian. Hi, love my grip top Shamma sandals. However, due to constantly wearing them, they are becoming extremely fragrant. And I don't mean in a good way. I've tried spraying them with antiseptic, I've tried pet stain odor remover, and I've tried sending them through the washing machine. The swampiness still remains. I would appreciate your recommendations as to how I can return them to their fresh and wholesome olfactory conditions. Thanks, Brian. This is a interesting question. So usually I would think this question would happen with the leather sandals because the leather is going to be a little more conducive to like holding in materials. And everything I know about our grip top material is it's like a surgical quality material. What I would do is I would take some extreme measures here. It sounds like maybe try something really heavy duty, like when we prep our sandals before we glue them, or we glue the soling sheets together, we'll use like a paint thinner or we'll use turpentine. You might try something like that to like just absolutely nuke whatever is there. But the best thing is once you do actually get it back to normal or a better smell, then you want to be really careful to wash your feet every time you put the sandals on. It's like before you put them on, because remember, it's like a bee. Think of your foot as a honeybee, and it's floating, you know, from your shoe, that flower, and it's bringing the pollen over to your sandal and vice versa. So whatever it is you got going on, once you get rid of it, you got to keep it separated, right? And so you got to deal with the honeybee effect. So no cross-pollination. So that's all I can think of right now, because I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I think you'd go pretty heavy. Find something really strong to deal with that, that issue there. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. All right, next one. This one comes from M. All right, hi there. First off, I'd like to start with thanking you for creating such an awesome product. Well, you're very welcome. It's our pleasure. Let's see. I love the entire idea behind Shamma sandals. I got my old goats a few weeks ago and have been slowly breaking them in. I have been noticing that when I'm on an unpaved surface, I have zero issues with them. No pain or soreness, and overall, I feel great in them. But when I walk on a paved path, I get pain and soreness on the front inner balls of the foot. Last week, I took them on a 5-mile hike in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado and had no soreness, no blisters, no issues at all. Yay! However, this past weekend, I wore them on a 6-mile walk on a paved path, and towards the second half of the trail, I started getting soreness on that front inside balls of the foot area. Not sure how else to describe it. But by the end of the walk, my feet were very sore, and by Monday I had visible blisters in that area. I've attached a photo as reference. Sorry, it's kind of a weird photo. It's probably not the weirdest one we've received. All right, I wanted to see if you have any suggestions for me. Do you think I'm wearing the sandals too loose? Would the power straps prevent this from happening? I'm taking my goats on a trip to Israel next week, and I'd love for them to be my main shoe while I'm there, so I'd like to avoid this happening in the future. Any thoughts? Thanks for your time and attention, M. All right, M, this is a you problem, and I'm sure you're a great person and all that, but it's how you walk, and you are changing your stride depending on the surface. For whatever reason, I don't really know what that is, but as a minimalist runner, somebody that goes out 3-4 times a week, I have a pair of sandals that I wore a hole in them. And I wore a hole on the right side. I've been wearing them for a year. And I was like, interesting, why do I have a hole on the right side, but not on the left side? Well, it's not too much of a surprise because I tend to, my right side is more dominant. I'm right-handed, I throw right-handed, I kick right-handed, and I tend to, this is like my right side is more like my strong side. And so what happens for me is that while I'm running, I will put extra pressure, I'll even twist a little bit. So this hole appeared in my sandal, but I kept running in them anyway, and I wasn't really having an issue, and the sandals were nice and thin, so I was like, this is great, I'm just running them. And then I went up this really steep hill. What I noticed when I went up the hill, all of a sudden I felt the spot under my foot where there was a hole. This was like the first time after, say, 2 or 3 runs, running, good distances. And the reason was, as I was going up a steep hill, all of a sudden I was twisting. That was the time I had probably created this hole on the sandal, and I didn't know it until right then that, oh, I'm twisting something. And that made me realize I need to relax and make sure my feet go straight forward and go through like a normal pattern, and I gotta let, you know, whatever my body's doing. So the cool thing about the sandals is they're gonna tell you when you're doing something weird or something that's, in the most straightforward terms, something that's not efficient, something that's not moving you forward. So walking and running and hiking, we just want to eliminate anything where energy, you know, our body's energy is like leaking out the side, or you know, we're going too short, we're going too tall. We want everything to like take us forward in the most efficient manner. So what I think is happening, if I had to guess, is for some reason when you're on a paved surface, especially now as you're thinking about it more, you are probably digging in or grabbing with your toes, and that's creating the blisters. So it's usually you're just not relaxing. One of the things that will help with relaxing is definitely the power straps. I love them. I wear them for running and hiking. And what they'll do is you can pull from the front, like the front of your ankle, and it pulls in towards the heel strap. So you can make them really tight, and you can also make them a little more secure without being overly tight. And then when your foot feels secure, it tends to relax more. So I think that helps. So it's two things: set your foot up for success, let it be more relaxed, you know, so with the power straps. And the other thing is you got to figure out for yourself in your stride, why am I tensing up? Why am I not relaxing? And I think those two things will help. Hopefully that was all helpful. And that's all we got in the mailbag today. See you next time. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel for more weekly content. And make sure to click the bell so that you'll be notified every time we post something new.